Chances are if you're watching this video, you got a dead battery and you're just not sure how to use jumper cables the safe way without causing an explosion. Hi, I'm Dave Striegel, and in this video, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to do it. It's going to take away all the mystery for you and you'll be safe. But it's pretty cold out here, so I'm going to run inside and show you how to do this. Stay tuned. Jump-starting a car, truck, or SUV with a dead battery can be a pretty dangerous operation when you're using jumper cables. See, using jumper cables is not my preferred method for starting a car anymore. I prefer to use a jumper pack, especially since this set of cables nearly got me killed. See, even for a seasoned mechanic like myself, this can be a pretty risky operation. And for someone who's never done it before, it can be downright deadly. So please, follow the steps, don't skip any, and stay safe. See, batteries can produce hydrogen gas, and they come out of these vents in the battery. Now, hydrogen gas in the right concentrations can be explosive, and if you remember the name Hindenburg, it probably conjures up images of a fiery, deadly disaster. So it's critical that we eliminate all possibilities of creating a spark near the battery. So another safety step to remember is that if you accidentally connect the polarity of one battery to the opposite posts of the other, it can cause a deadly battery explosion. Battery polarity is very important to pay attention to. So the first thing we have to do is pull the cars up so that we can get them close enough to jump start. If you're using jumper cables and they're real short like these ones, you're going to have to know where your contact points are so that you can get connected properly. See, most cars have batteries under the hood, so find out where the batteries are. Battery might be on this side of the car on this car, and on the other side of the car on the other one. You've got to get the two batteries in close proximity, and you want to get the cars pulled up, but there has to be a gap. Do not have the cars touching each other. And if you've got longer jumper cables, it really doesn't make that much difference. Now, not all cars have batteries under the hoods anymore. Some of the batteries are in the trunk, under the back seat, or in the inner fender well. So you just never know. The point is, if you don't see the battery under the hood, they're going to have connecting points, positive and negative, so that you can connect jumper cables up to jump start that vehicle. Okay, now that we've got the cars pulled up close and we got a decent set of jumper cables, we want to hook the red or the positive clamp up to the dead battery first. So we need to find the positive symbol on the battery. Don't assume that a red wire means it's a positive one on the battery. Look on the battery for the positive symbol. And then we're going to connect that positive up to the dead battery. Now you notice I've got these cables hanging here like this. This is a good way to keep them away from each other and not touching. So now what I need to do is to take this set of cables and connect them up to the other car that is running. So we're going to hook up the red to the positive of that battery, and then we're going to come back to this vehicle now that we've got both positive clamps hooked up, and we're going to hook up the negative terminal on the black clamp and position it there right on the battery. Dig it in good so it makes a really good connection, and check the connection on the other positive one. So now we've got both positive cables hooked up. We're going to hook up the negative cable to the dead battery, and now we're going to go to the running vehicle and hook up the ground connection to a good ground on the engine away from the battery. The important thing here to remember is the dead battery from the dead vehicle is going to put a pretty good load on the running vehicle, and as soon as we hook these cables up, there's going to be a spark, and we want that spark to occur away from the battery. It's going to happen, there's no question about it, but I want the spark to be away from the battery in case there's some hydrogen gas there. We don't want to cause that explosion. So we're going to find a good engine ground, a good heavy piece of metal that we can dig that clamp into, let it make that spark. It's going to be away from the battery. It's going to be nice and safe. The other thing you have to consider is if this battery was dead, it's probably been under stress. And a battery under stress is what produces a lot of these gases. So that's why I want that spark, when it's going to happen on the vehicle that's not in stress. So that's why we connect it up to the good running vehicle, the very last connection. Okay, now that we're all hooked up, what we want to do is go ahead and start the dead vehicle. So if you turn the key and it still won't start, the first thing to check is your connections. Jiggle all 4 connections. Make sure you've got a good ground, a good positive clamp connection. Make sure nothing's touching. Dig these clamps in a little bit. There might be a little bit of corrosion that's not allowing it to make a good connection. And it's also possible that the jumper cables that you're using aren't any good. It does happen when they get old sometimes. The terminals don't have a good connection anymore, and sometimes the wires break, especially on cheap cables. Try another set of cables. If that doesn't work, play it safe. Call a tow truck, get it pulled into the shop, and we'll get it checked out once we see it. Okay, quick recap. We're going to hook up the positive terminals from the dead battery to the good battery. Then we're going to hook up the ground connection to the dead battery. And then we're going to hook up, as a last connection, the ground to the good running vehicle away from the battery on a good heavy engine ground, or maybe a strut mount. Now, if the vehicle is ready to start, go ahead and turn the key, fire it up. Once it's running, don't shut it off. We need to now disconnect the clamps. Disconnect the clamps from the running vehicle first. Take off the ground connection, come over here to the other vehicle, take off the ground connection, and then you can take the positive clamps off and everything will be clean and safe. Oh, and one more note. If the battery or the alternator light is on the vehicle that needed to be jumped, don't drive it. That means the alternator is not working and you're going to get out on the road, it's going to stall, and you're going to get stuck in traffic. So instead of posing a safety hazard on the road, call a tow truck instead. Don't take the chance. So jump starting a dead battery with jumper cables can be a pretty dangerous situation. Don't skip any of these steps. They're very important that you do them in the exact process. So if you had a dead battery, you need to be asking yourself the question, why did it die in the first place? Maybe something was left on, like a light bulb. Maybe the alternator wasn't working properly and not recharging the battery. Or maybe the battery's just at the end of its life. See, we're seeing most batteries are really only lasting about 3.5 to 4 years. So if this is the case, make sure you drive your car right to the shop. Let us check it out. We'll find out if that battery's still good. We'll do an alternator test, and then we'll fully charge the battery. Remember, your alternator cannot fully charge your battery. You need to have it on a battery charger for a prolonged period of time. Now, in the beginning of the video, I told you that using jumper cables is not my preferred method for jump starting a dead battery. I'd rather use a jumper pack. Now, there's a lot of jumper packs out there, but there's one that I've found that won't allow you to make a mistake. It won't let you hook the cables up incorrectly, and there's no spark that's going to occur. So check out my channel for that upcoming video and find out which jumper pack is the safest one to use. You can leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. Hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so that you'll get notified of all of the videos that we've got coming up. And if you're looking for a good mechanic in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania, check out Elizabeth AutoCare at 274 Lovedale Road, Elizabeth, PA 15037. You can call us at 412-384-7700, or look us up on the web at www.elizabethautocare.com, and you can find out more information about jump starting a car with jumper cables. My name's Dave Striegel. I'll talk to you real soon.